Welcome to Dollars, Lifestyle, and Charity, a finance podcast for gamers. Romans and I are both money guys, but we're also gamers, so we wanted to put this pod together to help gamers like us with some of their tough money topics that can sometimes feel as hard as a Souls boss.
We're talking budgeting, saving, paying off debt, and how to not fall for all the traps life throws at you.
Grab a health potion and let's start stacking gold IRL. This is DLC, a finance podcast for gamers. Welcome to Dollars, Lifestyle, and Charity, a finance podcast for gamers. I'm Scruffy, this is Romans, and today we're going to be talking about credit cards. I am a firm believer that no one should ever really need a credit card. In fact, I'm such a believer that I was actually able to buy a house without having a credit score at all. So people always say you need to get a credit score, you need to build your credit. I bought a house and I didn't need a credit score. So don't think anyone needs it.
I can't wait to hear how he's a millionaire, and he's going to tell you in this episode how he earned $1 million with couponing or something. I'm the other side. I am pro credit card, and I'm going to tell you how to dig a deep debt trench and still somehow not be a slave to it.
There we go. All right. Well, to get started, we're just kind of going back and forth on some of the different things that we believe, why I believe you don't need a credit card, why Romans think there's some value that you can get to it. So Romans, why don't you start us off? What are some reasons why we should have a credit card?
I'm going to give you the first one, points. I am an absolute fan of credit card points. Now, I'm not an expert point hoarder, and you've met, I'm sure everyone has a friend who is into points. And I'm not the best guy, but I'm pretty good at it. And I think the trick, though, and I'll give you the hack for it, credit card points are best used if you fly internationally. If you fly domestically, still a cool deal to feel like you just flew somewhere for free. But the actual savings is international, because for the same flight domestically, imagine it's 50,000 points to fly domestically. Internationally, it's 80,000. But the trick is the value of the ticket. For 50,000 domestically, you're probably paying somewhere around, 400, at most 500 for 50,000 points. Internationally, for 80,000, you're paying for over $1,000 tickets, $1,200 tickets. So if you do the math, for 50,000 locally, you can get an entire international flight, pretty much double your value to fly internationally. So I know there's all kinds of tips and tricks, and I'm not that good at it, but I know good enough that I save up all my points. So when I fly internationally, instead of paying the $1,200, sometimes up to $2,000, I'll pay with these points, and I probably paid $500 if you really like. Probably not seven. I probably paid $700, maybe $800 at most. So for me, it's huge savings. So there's that, and during different types of the season, this is the part where it becomes more like a game, and this is where the real people who win really win. There are trends, and there are times where you can get 2x the points, 4 times the points. There's ways to consolidate your points. Like there's this thing called One World on the airplane side. So even though, imagine Alaska Airlines is giving you 10 times the points. I live in Florida. Ain't nobody flying Alaska Airlines in Florida. I'm sure there are a few people because it does fly into Orlando, but you really don't fly Alaskan Airlines on the East Coast. So what you do is you transfer your 10x Alaskan Airlines points and you change it to American Airlines or Delta points. And those two really fly a lot here. And I think it's actually One World is American, not Delta. So you transfer those 10x Alaskan points into American Airlines, and now you've just opened up the entire airport. And now you can potentially fly for free across the U.S. at a really cheap discount. And, get a good Lipton brisk tea drink if you want. If you catch why I said that, you weren't listening. You were watching the video, which we appreciate. So so points is probably, I'm gonna come out the gate. Something we didn't say in this episode. We want you to tell us who had a better argument as well. This is a full on Now, obviously, it's a friendly debate. We're not here to like decimate each other. But at the end of the
That's what you
episode,
think.
let's go. Yes. Yes, he's competitive. Yes, this is how friendships are ruined, folks. We're going to test the limit of our friendship today in this bloody knuckle fight of whether credit cards are good or bad. So, first point for me that I'm going to throw on the board is credit card points. And I'll stop it right there.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's the argument I hear from most people is, oh, you have to use the points, you get so much money free. My argument is pretty simple. How much money do you actually have to spend in order to get those credit card points? Like if you have a credit card that, let's be generous and say it's giving you 2% cash back on everything, in order to get $100 essentially worth of points, you would have needed to spend $5,000. So you're not actually getting that much value. And maybe if you're really gamifying it and using some of those like hacks to get the 4x, 8x points and stuff like that, you can potentially get some more points. But then the reason that the credit card companies put out those sales, those deals with the 4x, 8x points, is they're trying to get you to buy stuff that you weren't planning on buying. So it's a really, really easy way to fall into something that you haven't budgeted for. Now, maybe if you're an absolute genius and you know exactly when all of these 4x deals come out, you can plan things to say, like, oh, I know that this is going to come out at this time. Then you can plan it. And then maybe it's not as big of a hit on your budget. Uh, but it's still pretty consistently proven that you don't necessarily feel the transaction when you're spending with a credit card the same way you do with like a debit card or cash. I know for me, I really don't necessarily feel myself like losing money when I just tap a card against one of those little readers or something. It's not necessarily something. And then at the end of the week, when I go back to my budget, I'm like, I spent how much this week? Because I was just, when I went out with friends or whatever, you don't um, you don't really get that same feeling when you're paying with cash or when you're debit card's a little bit different, but like a credit card is incentivizing you to spend as much money as possible. They're giving you the points because they want you to spend more money. If you didn't spend more money because they gave you points, credit card companies would not give you points. They there's a reason that when you look at a skyline, about half the buildings are banks and credit card companies. They make a ton of money off of people. And realistically, do you think you, Romans, are going to be able to math better than Visa, than Discover, than whatever credit card you have? They're the reason that they have a building in downtown Orlando. I mean, maybe you do too. Maybe I am wrong there, but I don't really think um, anyone is smart enough to be able to pull one over on a credit card company just because you're getting some points.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree that it's kind of like Vegas, right? There's a reason why I never go to Vegas. Well, I'll go because it's more family friendly these days. But just go. Be sure to you're in your hotel room by 5 p.m. because once the suspicious cards come out with women on them, I think it's gone in the real Vegas
All
shares
right.
itself. But yeah, you will never. I don't believe. I know we're talking about credit cards today. I don't believe you can beat Vegas at their own game, and I feel like that's kind of what you're saying with credit cards.
Yeah.
I I can see the argument where you can't feel how much money you're spending if you're just throwing your card at it, and then you see later how much is on the statement. I could see those capitalist incentives, the transactions at the register, the impulse buys that can
Hmm.
grab at you. But I will tell you, just from the point standpoint, that those offers for those crazy points are literally somewhere between the value of them are between 250,000. I mean $250 and $1,000. Some of them are valued at more. The one hack I want to give you is you can do it every 2 to 3 years. Meaning the moment, so a real hack, if you really wanted to if you, like one of your arguments is if you really game it. I'll give you one quick gamer hack. One huge gamer hack is to apply for a credit card that has the sickest deal. Make sure you can qualify, because some of them, to your point, some of them are like you can get $2,000 if you spend $50,000 in 3 months. And you're like, who the heck spends $50,000 in 3 months besides billionaires,
Exactly.
right? So assuming you're not one of those people, or you don't have a business to run their expenses through a credit card, I agree, don't get that credit card. But you'll get some that are something along the lines of spend $1,000 for $500. Spend $1,000 in the next 3 months, and we'll give you $500. And I think a lot of people can meet that. But what I would tell people to do is, as soon as you meet that, as soon as you get that $500 in your bank account, for sure, you see the $500 in your bank account, close the credit card. Close it. And the reason why I say that, don't even transition to another card, actually close the card, is because per the terms and agreements in those agreements, you can't apply for that same deal for another 2 to 3 years. So if you do min-max it right, you can put yourself in a position where every year you're applying for a different credit card and, in essence, getting a free $500 offer. But to your point, it gets a little tricky. It gets a little like, which card am I using today? But I would tell you that scissors are your friends, and to actually cut credit cards, like literally cut them, even if you can't close it yet. But like, imagine it's like a video game. You hit the new high score of $1,000, cut the card, make sure there's no recurring charges, pay it off, and just let it sit. When you see the 500 come in, then cancel it. So I used to have a spreadsheet. I did do this for a little bit. I had a full-blown credit carded spreadsheet. I had every credit card I applied for, the date I applied for it, what the deal was to hit it, when I thought I would hit it, and when I would cancel the card. I would put it there. And then it got a little crazy because I had a stack of cards, right? Literally, it was just literally a video game. I had a stack of 15 credit cards, and then I would see it. And so I started cutting them because I'm like, can I still use this card? And I would check the spreadsheet. And it was so dumb. It's already on the spreadsheet. You already hit the milestone to get the money. The card, in my mind, is useless. Cut it and chuck it. And then when it comes time to cancel it later. What I will tell you is that 1Password, sponsored by, no, I'm just kidding. I wish we were sponsored. You need a password memorization tool to keep all this nonsense in play. I'm a 1Password fan. There's others just like it. But I would jam all their credit cards, all the logins, all the passwords, all their numbers in that thing because I couldn't, it's a credit card you only use 3 times. But I'll tell you, it's pretty nice when you get a $500 check for what I would imagine is normal life. Now, just don't do the ones that say 50,000. I have gotten the offer where it was like spend 50,000 in 3 months. And I could not figure out a way, like, do I need to buy a car? Like, to your point, I was like, what do I need that's $50,000? Do I need, like, what is it? Solar panels? Can I buy solar panels on credit card? And the thing that stinks now is that a lot of folks have caught on to this, and they will try to charge their fees onto you. So I'm probably giving something away to the enemy here. But don't do, like, make sure you read the fine print. And if you're a tourist, we're in Florida. If you go to Miami, guys, you need to verify.
Just don't go to Miami.
Do not go to Miami, step 1. But step 2, if you go to Miami and you use a credit card, literally ask them before they swipe it, who pays the credit card fees. Because it doesn't happen here in Orlando. It does not happen at Disney or anywhere else. But it happens in Miami. And you know where else it happens? Europe. Like, I don't like Europe for that reason. Europe, you got to be careful. A lot of places there, they make you pay the credit card fee to use the credit card. And when you're flying internationally, I don't carry a wad of other people's money. I only carry USA money. But like a lot of countries, you'd be surprised, even in Europe, that they are not credit card friendly. And the whole point of a credit card, for me, the number one reason to use a credit card besides points is convenience. It's just nice. I don't have to carry a bunch of bills in my wallet. It's just one plastic thing. You swipe it, you go. But Europe, you see people lunking around giant wallets full of coins and dollars because their country still runs on the euro. So buyer beware when you go international. It's a little tough
So
out there.
if it's your main, reason for credit cards is convenience, is it really convenient to be working through 15 different credit cards to try to gamify the system? Because that doesn't really seem like it's convenience to me. Like it seems like two different types of things that you're trying to argue here. Because yes, I get it that the points can be valuable if you really gamify it. But at that point, you're not using a credit card just because it's convenient. You're using a credit card because you're trying to gamify the system, trying to get something out of it. And that does the average person really have the time to actually try to go through that? Do you, the listener, do you actually have enough time to build out a spreadsheet and track all of your expenses, all for the potential of maybe getting a $500 check at the end of 3 months? That's 3 months worth of work for $500. If you spend that time just doing a little bit of extra work, imagine like we have some content creators on here. Imagine if you had been able to use that time to create another video or something like that. Could you have made that much money using that time just in your regular everyday life to get $500? Like maybe I'm wrong here, but that just seems like way too much work for something that, if you mess up, is actually going to cost you. Like if you mess this up and you're trying to work your way through 15 different credit cards and you do it great for 3 months or for 2 months, and then on the third month you forget one of the credit card, and credit cards don't have small amounts of interest. They charge you an insane amount of interest. You're looking at like 25, 30%. You miss one payment and you now have to pay an additional 25, 30% interest on your credit card. Like, that just doesn't seem like a good use of time to me.
I think you hit on the nose on the button. I think everything you're saying is right. If you cannot reach, I forgot to say this earlier because I just sometimes I assume certain parameters. Number one parameter is if you play a single dollar in credit card interest debt at all, just a dollar. I don't care if you exactly what you said. If you have credit card debt right now, as you're listening to this call, you are pretty much the alcoholic at the bar, and I'm the
Mm-hmm.
bartender. So I have to say, just to be reasonable for a moment before I go back into unreasonable land, if you have credit card debt right now, listening to this conversation, do not do anything I'm saying. Only do what Scruffy is saying, because the credit card interest rates of 25, 30, even higher. I have full blown social media posts that I talk about modern day slavery in today's world. Outside of actual human trafficking is actually credit card debt. The number one form of slavery in today's world, outside of human trafficking, is actually credit cards. So
Yeah.
if I could spend my debate time, do not have a credit card. Do not have credit card debt. But all right, switches off. Back to my brothers and sisters with no credit card debt, who are absolutely able to tame that beast, who love to play role playing games, JRPGs, resource management games. If you've ever played RimWorld, then you are my brothers and sisters, and you know how to min max anything. And you could, just like you manage your wood, if you've played Rust and you have to like have so much, I forget what it's called to make the weapons, the fuel. What is it? It's jars in that game. Anyways, it's like a crude
Uh,
oil. I forget what it's
yeah,
called, but you're always
I
trying to
forget.
find it. Anyways, it, you know how to do resource management, and I'm telling you, when you have 15 cards in rotation, you're about to make a payday of around $5,000 that year. Everything Scruffy is saying is right. What a waste of time. I can't believe you just went through that. But let me tell you, it feels like you won the lottery. All right. You just min maxed it. You got one over Vegas. You just got a free $5,000, and all you had to do was follow your spreadsheet, follow your rotation, and call a couple 800 lines and tell them, please cancel the card. And when that lady on that line, because usually it's always a lady, every once in a while it's a guy who should be on radio, The voice is so good. But every once in a while, you get a lady, and they literally make you feel bad. Like, are you sure you want to cancel this card? Like, how are you gonna survive? How are you gonna see tomorrow? And you know what I'm gonna answer to them? Please cancel the card. Thank you very much. Let me know when it's confirmed. I need to update my spreadsheet. You'll see them just and it's, oh, okay, sure. Your card is now canceled. It's confirmed, and you say, "Oh, thank you very much," and you get the confirmation number or whatnot, and then you hang up the phone and you move on to the next one. I, I, it, People love to follow sports and baseball. Some folks love to watch football and who's going to the Super Bowl. When I was deep
The
into
Eagles, by
this,
the way.
okay,
They
yeah,
said the
yeah, some
Eagles.
birds, yeah, some birds are gonna make it this year. Go birds, green birds,
Hey,
red
go
birds,
Birds.
all the birds.
No.
No, all the birds. Okay, only eagle lives matter. So,
Yes, this is true.
so for credit cards, everyone has their sport, and let me tell you, for a season, I was in a credit card game, and it was a good time because you just get the once they. It's kind of funny. You would think once they're onto you that they would stop sending you offers, but it's the opposite. Once you start doing it, they start sending you future offers. But you got to be tactical. This is very much a video game, a real life video game, and it is kind of fun. And I'll give you the next one, perks. Credit cards give you access to perks at airports and other places that are just nice, like early check-in, lounges. Like if I fly anywhere, if you ever fly with me across the U.S., two of you can come with me into any lounge. If an airport has a lounge, I can get in it. And in that lounge is usually pretty good food. Some of them have better than others. But it have you ever gone to the airport? And I'm a germaphobe to a certain extent. Have you ever gone to the airport and just felt like this place is just one giant virus? It's just one giant petri dish that
Fair.
that you need hand sanitizer without even touching anything. Like if you had an aerosol spray, you just gotta as you walk through, just spray it at people. Let me tell you where you don't need one, in the lounges. These lounges, many of them are so ill populated, it is literally you and 8 staff members. And nothing feels more sterile than the lack of humanity in a giant room. And imagine you have to board your airplane in an hour. Because some of you guys are early boarders, or some of you guys are really crazy and you like to be at the airport 2 to 3 hours early. Imagine a quiet oasis where they just have soothing tones of ocean and unlimited drinks and food and nobody around. Sometimes massage chairs. Amex used to have massages, but they took that away because COVID ruined everything that's good in this life. But before COVID, you could get free massages. That's through credit cards, my friend.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
how much money do you actually have to spend to get those perks? Like realistically speaking, at one you open I go and open an American Express account right now. I don't get access to all those airport lounges. Like I have to build up my credit to get to that point. And then at the same point, if I'm trying to play all those credit card games of min-maxing, I'm closing all those accounts. So I'm never actually going to be able to build up that status with those accounts if I am doing both of these things. So it seems to be like kind of one or the other. And again, I'm going to hammer it again. All it takes is 1 month where you forget. You forget in February because it ends on the 28th. You think you have a couple more days, and surprise, you get your bill and there's credit card debt on it. All you can do this right for a full year, and all it takes is 1 month where you miss something. Life happens, you miss something, and now you're in credit card debt and you're paying so much money that could have just been avoided if you had used a debit card. Debit cards have all the same conveniences as a credit card. You can tap, you can a lot of debit cards now will offer travel debit cards that you can use internationally. So that was one thing that some people with credit cards would say, "Oh, if I go international, I have to have a credit card." Well, that's not the case anymore. Like debit cards have caught on. There's ability to use that internationally now. Like it's just not worth it. It does not make sense to me to take that risk. And like I said, we haven't gotten into credit score yet, so you'll probably bring that up in the future. But like, yes, there are some perks that come, and yes, it can be very nice. But how much money do you actually have to spend to unlock those perks? And if you're getting a credit card with the intent of getting to these perks, you're going to be incentivized to spend more money. And if you're in a place where you are needing to be strict with your budget, you're needing to watch your money, shooting for all these perks, trying to pursue all these perks is not where you want to be spending your energy. It's just not worth it. So, yeah, sure, there can be some perks, but I don't see I still don't see any reason why that would be the thing to take the risk of having to pay credit card debt. Or even if you're doing it right and you're paying everything off, you're going to be spending more money than you would before. Unless you're going to one of these lounges where everything is completely complimentary. How many of those lounges? I don't know because I haven't been in many. Are they all completely complimentary, or are you going in there, buying a drink, buying a snack, and all spending more money anyway because you got into the lounge?
So it is definitely a tiered. There's definitely a class system. And shout out to this side of the podcast being sponsored by Envy Labs, a full stack web consultancy. That thanks to that company that I own, envylabs.com, where we spend so much money on building all the websites we build that, to your point, how do you get that status? For Amex, it's $75,000. You have to
In a
spend
year?
per year. You have to use your
That's
Amex card for
insanity.
$75,000. So thanks to Envy Labs, a company that I've owned and operated since roughly 2010. We have a I all the Amex charges flow through my card, so I have status. So to your point, the average I could not see, again, counterpoint against myself. I cannot see how you'd spend $75,000 as a regular human being for status at Amex. But thanks to my business that has to pay stuff, because when you're in a website business, everything flows through, right? There isn't anyone to just give money to. So if you run a business, imagine you're a streamer who has to buy a lot of equipment. Imagine you're reaching that level. You could probably do it. There's a lot of fees that happen, but we're talking more like the end gamers, right? We're talking about the 1% or the 1% of the 1% in the stream world who have the same luxury as me. But I'll tell you, to your point, once you reach the 75,000 mark, everything is free. All the snacks. There's literally nothing you could spend money on at the lounge. There are lesser statuses in other lounges where you could pay out of pocket, but thanks to my company, yes, for me everything is free. So
Hmm.
may the Lord continue to bless that business so that I can travel and do Jesus work all over the planet and not have to pay, and can chill in all these cool lounges.
Yeah. Well, that does sound. Yeah, I mean, that's nice. And I will say the one exception I have to my rule on no credit cards is in a situation like Romans, or if you're like a salesman that's traveling or something, and you're getting reimbursed, then it can make sense to have a credit card to get some of these points. Everyone else doesn't make sense to me. I will stand firm on that. But in those very few situations where I know my dad does a lot of traveling for his work and will get reimbursed, so he does get to have some of those points, and he does get some status because of that. So if you're having to buy flights, buy meals for clients and stuff like that, then okay, I can understand you having a credit card because ain't no way that your business, your company you're working for wants to pay credit card debt. They're going to get you reimbursed so that they're not having to pay that. But at the same point, that is a very, very small percentage of credit card users. Um, if you have a situation like that, then great. I would definitely listen to some of these credit card hacks that Romans is giving you. But for the vast majority of people, it's just not worth it. I don't see value there.
I,
So
I,
unless you're that
I,
very small percentage,
I think the other part that I'll give you another counterpoint to myself is life is nice to keep it simple. I do like
Yeah.
to keep things simple, but if you play video games, especially the complex ones that I like, the thinking games, the RimWorld folks out there, the Factorio people out there,
Oh gosh.
this is just another one of those games. Except this one actually affects your real life bank account versus your virtual one. That really kind of doesn't matter in the end. It's more, if
Yeah.
anything, it's just a flex moment. But yeah, so just so you know, and I guess another counterpoint to myself today is I don't do it anymore today. It is very time intensive, but I tell you, in the early days where dollars mattered, and I was trying to find a free $2,000 from somebody, you can game the system through points. And as well, oh, the other one is hotels. Those hotel, you really can min max it like crazy and get free hotel nights. To your point, how much activity does it take to get the free nights? It does take work. But if you can really min max, if you have kids who go to school that you have to pay for, if you have public school kids, you won't have this effect. But sometimes you have kids in like private schools and stuff. I'll put that baby on credit card. And, like they don't charge the fees, they eat the fees to do it. And I got to pay the crazy 10,000 plus $1,000 per kid. That that alone can meet some of these goals. So if you can do it in a minimal, you don't have to do the 15 credit card like trip around the world like I was doing, where I was doing every card that had a thing. You can do maybe just two or three, because you have big expenses you have to pay. A big one is when your roof needs a major repair. Like you have to
Gosh.
get a
Yeah.
major repair, like your roof, your insurance company. If you live in Florida, your insurance company wants to re-roof your house every 6 months, even if it didn't rain, even if it's made out of vibranium, Wakanda vibranium. The insurance companies make you re-roof it. That's an easy 15 if you're lucky, 30 if you're average, 50,000 if you're crazy
Yeah.
expense. I They offer financing. I don't need financing. I need you to just accept my credit card so I can get XYZ. And what are you gonna do? I would say to you as a point to, or a point against you. Why would you put that? Why would you put 50,000 in your bank account, especially in today's world where you can earn interest if you invested to 50,000, 30 days with $50,000 at 5% interest is a lot of money today. You probably could get 3% bare minimum for the sake of, imagine you're very safe. You don't want to risk losing that $50,000. But you have a $50,000 repair you have to do. You could pay the cash, or you could pay the credit card, get 1% interest rate at, get 3% of the 50,000, and then pay it next month. So, and then you made an extra $1,500 probably, all things being equal. I think those are moments where I feel like credit cards for the win, baby. But if you're in team
Yeah.
credit card debt, ignore everything I said. Just listen to the first 5 minutes of this podcast and then move on.
Yeah. I can kind of see that argument, but at the same point, when you're going to have to repair a roof, you should have been saving for that anyways. And if, like I tell all my clients, you have these great things called high yield savings accounts. So if you've been saving your money for that expense, you've already been making money off of that. So sure, maybe you could get a little bit of extra there, but if you've been actually doing it the right way and planning, you've already been making 4% on that money while you've been saving up for your house. You've already been making a ton of money, because if you're paying 25, 30 grand for a roof, you would have been earning, probably at that point, if it was my high yield savings account, you've probably been earning about $100 a month, as that money's just been sitting there waiting for that. So sure, there could be a little bit of like a kicker at the very end if you use a credit card, but you've already been making money there. So I don't think it's as much of a cost as you maybe implied there.
Well, I think you should do the final attack on me and tell me how you bought a house without a credit card.
Yeah.
I think you
Yeah.
should. Yeah, fatality me. Go for it. Give it a shot.
So a lot of the argument, when I was going to college and other people I was talking with my friends and they were like, oh, yeah, I have to get a credit card because you have to build a credit score. Your only way for you to be able to one day fulfill the American dream and buy a house is if you have a credit score, because people will only lend you money if you have a credit score. Counterpoint. This is hilarious to me. The month before I was purchasing my house, I went on a trip, and my rental car company that I booked with would not rent me my car because I did not have a credit score. I kid you not, they would not rent me the car. I'm like, do you just understand that I'm purchasing a house with a without a credit score? Now I walked across the street and was able to get a car at a different rental place that didn't have forced me to have a credit score. But yeah, so people always say like, oh, you have to build credit, you have to build credit so that you can borrow more money. The a credit score is only a signal to other lenders of like, oh, okay, are you going to pay me back? There's really a lot of other ways to prove that. How do you think they made mortgages before credit cards existed, before credit scores existed? It's called manual underwriting. Now, does this make the home buying process a little bit longer and a little bit more complicated? Sure, because you have to find a mortgage company that is willing to do the manual underwriting that will go through your bank statements to make sure you're getting paid, that you are paying your bills on time. But I was able to go through that process, and you don't have to have a credit score in order to get a house. I know of a couple of other people as well. I was talking with a client of mine recently. They did the same thing. They did not have a credit score. They just got a credit card for the first time recently. Um, but they were able to purchase a house. They just had to find a good mortgage broker that knew how to do manual underwriting. You're probably not going to be able to get that from like a big company like a Wells Fargo or something like that. Uh, Shout out to Wells Fargo. Never use them for anything. They are absolutely terrible. Um, so find yourself a individual small local broker, mortgage broker. They'll be able to do the manual underwriting for you. You'll probably have a better experience because they'll be in contact with you consistently, talking you through the process. It is a more involved process, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Buying a house, it's a huge deal. It's something you want to be involved in. So having a couple extra steps is not necessarily the worst thing in the world. So yeah, you don't need it. It doesn't make things maybe slightly more convenient, sure, but in the long run, I forget what the actual stats are, but there are people, our nation, America, is billions upon billions of dollars in credit card debt because, oh, you have to have a credit card. That's something everyone has to have. And it just, like Romans, you were saying earlier, it does put people in slavery because they don't know how to use them. And it just, to me, I know, yes, I'm a very disciplined person, so I could, in theory, be strategic and get value out of the points. I just don't see any worth to it. It's not worth my time. I have other things I'd rather spend my time on. I'd rather be sitting down playing some Rivals or Claire Obscure or Donkey Kong Bonanza when that comes out, rather than trying to figure out which credit card do I have to use when I go to the grocery store on Friday. Like, that's not how I want to use my time. That just doesn't seem productive to me. So if that's how you have fun, great, good on you. If you want to comb through credit card statements on a weekend, Friday night, good on you. That's not how I'm going to be spending my time.
Yeah, I agree. Label makers are your friend. I had one that said food on it, so I knew that was one that was for food. I had one that said travel. That's the one for travel. Uh, yeah, just make sure the label doesn't come off because then it's a really bad time. Like, what is this card for? When you're out in the wild and the little thing that was on it comes off, you're like, oh no, which card is this? I only know him as food card. I don't actually know who it is. Like, I don't know if it's a Visa or Mastercard. Yeah, good stuff. Good story. What we'll do here is let's just wrap it up here. You guys decide in the comments or
Hmm.
anywhere else in social media land and tell us how we did. Tell us if you learned anything. Tell us your hack to credit card magic if you're into that, or if you're also from the 1900s or 1800s like Scruffy, you remember the world before credit cards. Give us your budgeting hacks and tips of how you manage your cash in your bank. Because at the end of the day, credit card debts actually paying interest rates, I'll never get behind that for sure. Um, yeah, so thanks again. You guys can catch me in the Discord. That's where I am by design. I could be all over social media land. You will see me on LinkedIn and other places, but if you actually want to interact, I interact in the Discord of Reach Conference 2025, November 6, 7, 8 here in Orlando.
And it's coming up. We're only what 125 days or so out from Reach Conference. It's coming up. So looking forward
Yeah,
to it. If
that's
go
right.
to reachconf dot is it .org or .com?
Nope, nope,
Reachconf.org.
.org.
.org. Yep. Reachconf.org. Buy your tickets because it's coming out. There's going to be hundreds of people there. It's a really great time. That's where I met Romans. It's a great place to meet some really cool people, content creators, and just have a great time. Yeah, you can find me there as well. Pop over if you have a question you want answered. Pop over to the Golden Loot Stat Chat. Ask it there, and if you have other questions, or if you have a question that you want Romans and I to answer on the show, feel free to shoot me a DM. That'll be in the description, or you can also email me as well. We can answer your question on the show. Before we head out, Romans, what have you been up to? What do you have going on?
Wow. I am flying to Europe soon, and that's all on my mind. I recently came back from, where was I? Oh, I was in Portland, Oregon. Wow, you know what's so funny? I travel so much. My brain only remembers certain trips. So I've been in quite a few places. Have a great time. But now my mind, I leave for Europe. Like literally, by the time this airs, by the time the show airs, I will already be in Europe. That's how soon I leave. So it's on my mind. I'll be going across 4 countries to do Jesus stuff and see a longtime college
Nice.
friend.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
How about
Very
you?
cool. For me, not been that much different. Work has been popping for me, so been really focused on that. It's been great. I absolutely love what I do. It's so great when I'm getting to see clients like actually achieving their money goals. I absolutely love it. I had some great meetings last week with some clients, so that's been good. Finally made my way through Act One. Oh my gosh, of Claire Obscure. Oh my gosh, those of you who know. My goodness, I did not see that coming. Act Two's been fantastic. The game's been fantastic. Also been grinding on some rivals a little bit before the season ends this year, or not this year, this season two, and it's coming up. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Very cool. I saw the ending to Claire Obscure. It's quite good.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good. I've been avoiding spoilers like the plague,
Yeah,
because
I won't say anything.
yeah, I luckily didn't see any spoilers for the end of Act One, and I'm getting close to the end of Act Two now. And the story is just fantastic. I do not see how this is not going to win Game of the Year. I
If it
Yeah,
doesn't win, it's because big corporations do big corporation things. That's really the only
yeah.
answer I can give.
I mean, I don't see any possibility. I mean, I don't see any game releases coming up that even are going to come close to competing with how big this became and how good
Yeah.
this is. So
Mm.
we'll see. But yeah. So this has been Dollars Lifestyle and Charity, a finance podcast for gamers. Hope you guys got something valuable out of this. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you tell Romans why he's wrong in the comments and why having a credit card is not the way to go. But in all seriousness, drop who you think potentially won the debate. We'd love to hear what you all think. If you have a question, drop a question. And that is it for us. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. See ya.
Bye.